Hey, man, safe to say we getting spoiled. Another good night of playoff basketball, and I definitely came into the playoffs this year saying this is going to be one of the most fun playoff runs that we've had just because of all of the parity, all of the different talent hitting on all cylinders, the different styles, the different teams. Um, Everything is just on fire right now. First time in NBA history that all of the road teams have started off with a win. So the second round has been kind of the round of the underdog so far. Again, a lot of basketball left in some of these series. A lot of time for us to believe that these big dog, higher seeded teams are going to get their act together and quickly flip the switch. But like I said, another good night of playoff basketball. We got the Pacers, Cavs in game two. We also have the Warriors and Timberwolves in game one. I'm going to start off with the Timberwolves and the Warriors just because that one just ended and a lot of it is freshly on my mind to talk about and discuss. And then we'll wrap up with the theatrical game of the Pacers coming back with the Tyrese Halliburton game-winning shot, which was amazing to see. Now, as far as the Timberwolves and the Warriors, there are a lot of different things that we're going to talk about and address. First thing that we have to speak on is the injury to Steph Curry. Steph Curry played 12 minutes in his game. He left with a hamstring injury, did not return. I will say this. Never a fan, first and foremost, of a star player getting injured. Definitely never a fan of a guy of Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Harden, Russ. Any of those guys of that magnitude. Plus, these are guys that are playing at a younger level. But when you actually go to the Google, Wikipedia basketball reference page, you see that these guys are 36, 37. LeBron is 40 years old. The time is not stopping anytime soon. It's clicking and clicking and clicking faster. So I definitely don't want to see any injuries to nobody, let alone a Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, or anybody in the playoffs right now. So get well, Steph. Tough injury to predict. It's a hamstring injury. It's just one of those things where it's just kind of going to heal on itself. We got to kind of hope that he can get enough work done and enough treatment and just be able to relax for tomorrow and hopefully give it a go and can play through it. But again, it's one of those injuries where you don't even want to risk it because if you try to give it a go and it's not ready, it can only worsen. And then the timetable becomes longer, it becomes lingering, and you just, again, it could turn into a whole ordeal. So it's going to be very interesting to pay attention to that and see how the Warriors work with that. I'm going to be honest, don't know how significant it is. Don't know if they said, let's be precautious. He did leave, and they had a decent lead. Don't get me wrong, it was still early in the game, and we know how leads are not safe in today's game with the three-point shot. But then there's the other side of it where it's like, damn, was it that significant that they were like, nah, we got to shut this down now. We know how important this game is. We know how good he started. I mean, Steph Curry, in the 12 minutes he played, he left the game with 13 points in 12 minutes on 3 of 6 shooting from the three-point line. So he left his mark very early in his game. And I know when you're rolling like that and you Steph Curry, 13 points in 12 minutes, that could be a 40-point night. So, of course, he didn't want to leave. So, again, this could be a potential serious injury. We'll see how it goes. I'm sure we'll be hearing reports on that very, very soon. Definitely was a shocker to see him go straight to the locker room, and then to get the report that he wasn't returning was kind of like a blow to the basketball world. I don't think even Minnesota Timberwolves fans were probably like, damn it, like, nobody wants to see it. But outside of that, the main thing I take from this game is the difference in the Golden State Warriors as a defensive unit compared to the Lakers, who the Timberwolves just kind of ran through and had their way in a lot of those games on their way to a gentleman sweep. The ability for the Warriors to run around as a unit like they did was extremely impressive. And it was one of my favorite things about the Warriors post Jimmy Butler trade. When they had that hot start, it's like, oh, man, they haven't lost with Jimmy Butler in the lineup. The defense had a resurgence that was like what they showed in this game, where Draymond Green was able to be this anchor who can run around and communicate and backline it, and they were just all on one accord. And I think you got a lot of that tonight, where just a lot of different possessions where guys are flying around. A lot of these three-point shots that didn't fall tonight for the Minnesota Timberwolves were highly contested. Draymond Green did a good job guarding Rudy, and using that non-gravity outside of the paint to load up and cut off a lot of the driving lanes. And it was very uncomfortable for Anthony Edwards, especially in the first half where he only had 1 point, to get to the rim. Now, as the game went on and Anthony Edwards started to pick and choose, foul trouble comes into play. He was able to get a few freebies, and they had a couple of times where the Timberwolves were rolling and had some runs here and there. But for the most part of this game, and the early part, which I think really hurt Minnesota, when the Golden State Warriors were able to create that early lead, create some comfort, get rolling, and put them behind the 8 ball to make them play catch up for the rest of the game, I think that was enough to ultimately hold them off and get this win. But they make it tough. This is one of those series, again, kind of like the Lakers series, where Rudy is going to have to come to play. And the NBA is an incredible league because you'll have a night like Rudy had in that closeout game against the Lakers where he had 20-20, arguably one of the best games of his career. He get to walk around with his chest poked out. But then that fast, you go into a new series with a new set of responsibilities, new set of challenges, and some more adjustment that you're going to have to make to play at the level that you're being paid to play at. And the Warriors, with their offense and their defense, Rudy is going to have to find a way to be impactful on both sides of the basketball. Now, obviously, the Warriors are giving up a lot of size because Draymond Green is running a lot of 5 there. And even when they play Quentin Post and Kevon Looney, those guys aren't near the stature of a Rudy Gobert either. But on offense, with their motion offense and how much they trust each other and how much they pass and how much they cut and they, you have the split actions and everything is just in unison for the Golden State Warriors, it gives a lot of trouble to Rudy. He has to play a lot higher than he's accustomed to, and it makes it a lot harder for him to rebound. I mean, they were killing the Timberwolves on the offensive glass all night long, and this was supposed to be something that was an advantage for the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves were supposed to control the glass. They were supposed to have the advantage on the offensive rebound, and just like they did against the Lakers. These are all things that you go into the series thinking, oh, the Timberwolves have this advantage and that advantage because they have Rudy, and nobody's going to be able to match up with him with his size. And the Timberwolves weren't able to use that to their advantage. The Warriors were able to negate that, and not only negate it, but they flipped it and made it their advantage. Warriors ended this game plus 11 on the glass with 18 offensive rebounds. And again, for Rudy to be paid the way he is and for him to have the role he has, which is supposed to be an advantage for the Timberwolves in these series, he has to come and play and be a lot better. He only played, 26 minutes tonight. That tells you everything you need to know. Kind of put Chris Finch in a pickle. They're going to have some adjustments that they have to make to figure out how they can comfortably have him on the floor for a lot longer than 26 minutes. And when they do have him on the floor, he has to, again, find a way to be impactful. One of the things that frustrated me in the Lakers series prior to that Game 5 closeout was I felt like Rudy had a dominant opportunity, and it was the glass. Where it's like if you just go ferociously at the glass, 2 things were happening against the Lakers. You were getting the offensive rebound to get an extra possession for your team, or the Lakers had to foul him. The Lakers had to foul him. That was one of the earlier notes that I wrote in this notebook when I was watching those Lakers-Minnesota Timberwolves. It was the simple note: Rudy has to be ferocious on the glass. They cannot box him out. They either allow him to get it or they foul him. And some of that is going to have to be in this series as well. Draymond Green is not going to be good enough to box him out. Jimmy Butler is not going to be able to be good enough to box him out. AirPods cannot have the impact that he had on the glass. That was one of the best things I'll say about the Warriors as well. They gain rebound. They rebound the hell out of the ball as a team because they don't have a Rudy. They don't have anybody near that size. But when you look at the rebounding numbers, they out-rebounded them 60-49 plus 11, like I said. But look at who did the rebounding, right? Kevon Looney came in for 14 minutes, and he gave him a good 6 rebounds. But even outside of that, AirPods, 8 rebounds. Draymond Green, 8 rebounds. Jimmy Butler, 11 rebounds, 7 offensive. Buddy Hield, 8 rebounds, 4 offensive. You got 11 offensive rebounds from Buddy Hield and Jimmy Butler alone. To me, that is unacceptable for the Minnesota Timberwolves. It's unacceptable. 18 offensive rebounds for a team that played, the tallest guy on their team played 6 minutes tonight. Quentin Post played 16 minutes tonight and got 1 rebound, and it wasn't offensive. And you found a way to give up 18 offensive rebounds. Pat Spencer had 2 offensive rebounds. Came in and gave them the heart, all the heart that he had in those 10 minutes. Hit a hook shot on the glass, fighting for the loose balls. Just played with a different type of intensity on the road. And the Timberwolves didn't match it. The Timberwolves did not match it at all. 17-0 run that they had at one point. Minnesota went 6.5 minutes without a field goal. They missed 10 consecutive field goals in a row. Oh, man. Warriors threw a zone at them early. They just, I don't know. It felt like everything that could go right for the Warriors did. And I think a lot of it started from the defensive side of the basketball. They really woke up and got their wheels rolling with the defensive side of the basketball. And then you saw everything else kind of be contagious. Draymond Green, making it rain. He had, 4 threes in that quarter, just knocking them down. Boom, boom, boom. And then he's taking that energy and taking that momentum, taking on defense. They're running around everywhere. Jimmy Butler is a guy who I prefer, preferably, to see him on teams that are more led by him, right? Like, I'm just being honest. I like Jimmy Butler on the Timberwolves more than I like Jimmy Butler on the 76ers. I like Jimmy Butler on the Heat more than I like him with the Warriors. I like Jimmy Butler leading the Bulls than when he was a featured player. That's just the version of Jimmy Butler that I like. But I can't deny the Jimmy Butler that's on the Warriors. I love seeing, like, this is to me what makes Jimmy Butler such an incredible player, because he can go to a Heat team in those few years that we saw in that Jimmy Butler Miami Heat era, and can lead a team, be your go-to guy down the stretch, get timely buckets, put the team on his back, guard a guy in a certain quarter or for certain stretches of the game where he has to lock in. But then he can also come to a team like this that has structure, has culture, has an offense of scheme that they've been running for years, and just come in and do his job. Hey, y'all need me to take 20 shots tonight? I'm going to take 20 shots tonight. In the last series against the Rockets, y'all needed a certain stretches for me to alleviate some pressure from Steph because of how they're guarding him, and create some of my own shots because we don't have many shot creators outside of Steph. I'll do that. Get in the mid-post, I'll do that. You want me to come out and rebound? I'll get you 7 offensive rebounds. You want me to guard? He had 8 assists tonight as well. You want me to make some plays? We don't have Steph. You know what I'm saying? Draymond can only do so much, especially when Steph is not in the game, because of the scoring gravity that Steph provides. I'll take some of the playmaking pressure off of him. I'll guard 2 or 3 possessions. I'll battle with Julius Randle. When Draymond goes out to help and rotate off of Rudy, because we're fine with helping off of Rudy, I'll be the one to roll over and help Draymond, help the helper, and box out Rudy. And those are the things that don't show up in a box score when AirPods is able to go and get 8 rebounds because Draymond is helping clog up the paint and remove a driving lane for Anthony Edwards. But now Jimmy Butler is sliding the box out Rudy big ass, and now you have a Buddy Hield or AirPods going up to get a couple of rebounds. Those are the things that won't show up in the box score. You won't see that. So I just love the way that this team is playing. I love the way that they played tonight. Don't get me wrong. The Warriors are going to have moments in every single game, especially in a game without Steph, where you look at the offense and you just kind of just like, what the hell is going on? Like, it's such a roller coaster ride with this team offensively, which is uncharacteristic, right? You're used to turning on the TV to watch incredible high-powered offense with the Warriors, but they find a way to work with what they have, and that's a credit to the culture, Kerr, and the leaders of this team. But yeah, there was moments in the second half where in the end of the third, maybe fourth quarter, I'm processing a lot right now. The Minnesota Timberwolves went on a 10-2 run. I think that was the fourth quarter. And yeah, the Warriors offense in that fourth quarter didn't look its best. That was easily the worst quarter that they had in this game. Looked gassed. Sometimes just didn't have it. But championship DNA, experience, leadership, being composed, being poised, they made timely buckets when they needed to. They rotated the basketball. There was time. I can't say in how many playoff they played 7 games against the Rockets. They played today 8 playoff games. I can't speak to how much they trust each other. Like Gary Payton II is not a good 3-point shooter. Teams don't even guard him. But the Warriors are going to rotate the ball to him and trust him to knock down shots as if he is a 38% 3-point shooter. And he knocked down 2 tonight. He made 66% of his 3-point shots on tonight. I saw him make timely threes against the Rockets in that series. And that's just how it is, man. That's just how Kuminga knocked down a big 3-point shot in that fourth quarter, I believe it was, when the Timberwolves had a run going. They trusted him. Draymond, they swing the ball to, and he stepped up with confidence and made 4 of 10 today. Buddy Hield made more shots. AirPod can shoot the ball anytime he wants. Moses Moody is going to get looks. Swinging a basketball makes it a lot more harder to defend. And that's going to be the challenge for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Coming off a series where it was a lot more predicated to LeBron and Luka. The ball sticks a little bit. Don't get me wrong, Luka is obviously an incredible playmaker, staying with LeBron James. But the Lakers don't have this free-flowing, moving the basketball type offense. 2 totally different worlds. And then defensively, the Warriors are going to play a lot more intensified defense than the Lakers, and they're going to be able to negate some of the size that they're giving up. Clearly, plus 18, plus 11 on the glass, and they made it tough for Ant. They made it tough. Nothing that he had was clean for the first 3 or so quarters of this game. And again, even in the fourth quarter, they made it tough. He did have some breakaways where the help wasn't there or the help didn't rotate, because Naz Reid came in and knocked down some 3-point shots. So you may not have had the proper rotations like you do when Rudy's in a game, because it's a lot easier to help off Rudy than Naz Reid. But, yeah, man, they made it tough for him. I can't wait to see the adjustments that they make going forward, the Timberwolves, that is. And I can't wait to see if Rudy is able to find a way to allow himself to be impactful, right? 52 points in the paint, right? That's something that they can build on. The Warriors are going to be vulnerable in the paint for the rest of the series. They have to make it count when they can get there. The one thing I will say about that, though, is it can sometimes be a little fool's gold. It takes so much time off the clock, and it takes so long for Minnesota to get their offense rolling when they score that way sometimes, because you have now what Julius Randle was attacking AirPod. So he's going at somebody much smaller, and he's trying to anticipate if the Warriors are sending somebody. If he's not, he's posting, bang. It takes so much, and it doesn't allow the offense to click and have a legitimate rhythm. And there's a few times where you see Julius Randle get a little bit out of control, overthink, should I pass, should I keep, charge here, charge there. But, yeah, man, got to tip your hat off to the Warriors. 16 turnovers for the Minnesota Timberwolves is not going to cut it either. They did a really good job, man. They really did a good job. 11 points in the second quarter for the Timberwolves is also something that you can't really turn a blind eye at. Cannot wait to see how the Warriors are going to continue to defend. Obviously, again, Steph Curry and his hamstring situation is going to be big in this series going forward. Nobody wants to see that. But another good series with the underdog taking a 1-0 lead. Now, for the first game of the night, the more theatrical one, the fireworks, Cleveland Cavaliers against the Pacers. Tough loss for the Cavaliers. I mean, what more can I say? There are going to be different things that I can bring up, break down, dive into, right? Numbers, stats, and all these different things. But I have to start with just like tough loss for the Cavaliers. Number one, you come into this game and you don't have Evan Mobley or DeAndre Hunter, while also still being down Darius Garland. And I said that a few nights ago when they did game one, where it's like, hey, I'm fully prepared for the Cavaliers to play majority of the series without Darius Garland. Now, when I said that, I had no idea that they would then be losing Evan Mobley and DeAndre Hunter. Then at one point in this game, late in this game, you see Donovan Mitchell get subbed out. The camera's on him, and he's saying, fuck, fuck, fuck. It's the calf. And my issue right now, and it's nothing, it's not against anybody. It's not to point a finger, because it's just a situation that they happen to be in, unfortunately. Donovan Mitchell is being tasked with a lot right now offensively, because number one, there is no Darius Garland, who is a very dynamic guard, can take a lot of pressure off of Donovan Mitchell from ball handling and shot creation and running the offense and even getting his own shot and creating his own shot. Can take some pressure and some time off of Donovan Mitchell, and it makes Kenny Atkinson a lot more comfortable being able to have Darius Garland out there running the offense while Donovan Mitchell gets rest during some of these games. Donovan Mitchell tonight, I just want to make sure I'm accurate with everything. He played, let me see, these are first half. So he played 18 minutes in the first half, but altogether, Donovan Mitchell played 35 minutes, right? He played 35 minutes. He took 30 shots, took 21 free throws, 21 of their 35 free throws. He shot 1 of 7 from 3, which is a evident, sign of the legs, just like the last game. He went 0-4 in the first half from 3. He struggled from the three-point line that last game. He definitely came out with an intent to say, okay, the three-point shot wasn't falling last game. I settled a little bit. He put the head down and went to work. Got to the paint. They sent bodies. Didn't matter. Size was there. Miles Turner. They attacked with pick and rolls with Jared Allen. And then if they didn't do the pick and roll with Jared Allen, you would see a lot of the times the screener would be somebody that Halliburton is guarding. So you would see Halliburton guarding Dean Wade. Dean Wade, you're going to be a screener. You would see Halliburton on Sam Merrill. Merrill, you're going to be a screener. I think you saw some Max Strus. Max Strus, you're going to be a screener. So you saw a lot of that, and you saw a lot of Donovan Mitchell's mindset being downhill attack. Now, he did have his three-point looks that he took. Obviously, like I said, 1 of 7, 4 in the first half, 3 in the second half. Donovan Mitchell is that dynamic, and he's that good of a shooter, especially off the dribble, where he's going to take them, and he should take them. And the creation that he's able to, the separation he's able to create, he has to take those looks. And a lot of them were good looks, but again, his legs aren't there. He's being tasked with so much, and because of the tempo that the Pacers play at, he has to then put an emphasis on getting back on defense, and he has to lock in on defense because there's a lot going on with the Pacers. They move the ball a lot as well, and they swing side, shifting defense. You kind of have to be locked in. They can do their best to try to put you on guys that maybe aren't as featured, right? It's a different task of guarding Aaron Nesmith versus Tyrese Halliburton, but ultimately, there's a lot of responsibility that Donovan Mitchell is tasked with right now, and you can see it on his shot and with the misses that he's having from the perimeter. Pacers, I mean, they had the worst start that they could have, ultimately. 15 points, what is that? 15 points in the first quarter, I believe it was. Not ideal for them. The turnovers were atrocious in the first half. Andrew Nembhard coughed the ball up 8 times this game. I think he had 5 turnovers in the first half with only 6 points. He almost had as many turnovers as points in the first half. And Tyrese Halliburton, he didn't come out with the same aggression. And you saw the Cavaliers made it a focal point to really make sure that he was guarded immediately. And then in a half court, he kind of was face guarded. So they wanted to make sure that they emphasized making him work and keeping a body on him so he wasn't running up freely, pushing the pace, and that kind of made him start off slow. He only took 4 shots in the first half. He made 3 of those 4, 2 in the paint, 1 3-point shot, but it definitely wasn't the same aggressiveness that we saw in the first half of the last game. And I think the Cavaliers did a good job with that. They did a good job with cutting the ball off. They were limited to paint touches, which were very detrimental in game 1. And that was big for them. 13 points. Pacers had 13 first half turnovers. Cavs had 7 offensive rebounds. That was another big factor for them. Pacers weren't really knocking down the 3-point shot too much. And then ultimately, in that second half, Pacers had different spurts, even in the second quarter, different spurts of showing life. And I was watching the game, and I was knowing a Pacers run is going to come. I wasn't sure if they were going to win, but I knew that they were going to give themselves a chance to win. They were going to give themselves a chance to position themselves to maybe have a way to win this game. And I knew as the game went on, as I'm watching Donovan Mitchell drive, I'm watching and I'm saying, damn, at some point, 2 things are going to happen. He's going to run out of gas, or they're going to just take him out of the game. The Pacers are going to say, hey, you know what? blitz him, send two, make him give up the ball, make somebody else make a play. And the reason I had that mindset is because my guy, who I love, still my dog. My dog, when he goes 10 of 14 or 1 of 14, I love me some Ty Jerome. But Ty Jerome has had a very tough start in the second round. He shot 1 of 14 today, 0 of 4, and he is supposed to be their guy that's there to step up in Darius Garland's absence. And he's supposed to take a little bit of pressure off of Donovan Mitchell, because with Garland out, with DeAndre Hunter out, and even Evan Mobley out, you don't really have anybody nearly as good offensively as Donovan Mitchell to kind of take some pressure off of him, or to make their own play, or if he goes to the bench for 2 minutes, somebody that they can trust to make some shit happen. Ty Jerome, this is the moment for him to be that guy, and it shot just wasn't falling. He got looks that he makes, little float shots, good 3-point looks. Just in a slump right now. But he stayed aggressive. But when I seen Ty Jerome not being able to get his shot fall, I'm like, man, they're going to probably just throw 2 on Donovan Mitchell and say Ty Jerome got to step up, or Max Strus is going to have to make some plays. And Max Strus did make some big timely 3-point shots, especially in that second half. But I knew the run was happening. And sure enough, that second half, you got to give credit to a lot of people for the Pacers. First and foremost, Benedict Mathurin gave them 16 second half points. That's exactly what you're looking for from Benedict Mathurin in the playoffs. That's exactly the type of punch you want off your bench. The other guy, Aaron Nesmith, he gave you 15 points in the second half. But even outside of the points from the box score, the intensity that he plays with, the effort he gives you defensively, the shooting ability he gives you offensively, Aaron Nesmith might be the heart and soul of this team. He might be the heart and soul of this team, and I could definitely be wrong. I'm not against pushback to that, because you have Andrew Nembhard. I know what Miles Turner means to this team from a leadership standpoint. I know Tyrese is the engine, but my gosh, Aaron Nesmith will run through a wall. We've seen block shots. We've seen the putback dunk from the free throw line that all Cavs fans are debating and saying, and how did they not call it or whatever. We saw the block in game 1 on Donovan Mitchell when he recovered, and then he ran down after block and then made the 3 in transition. Like, these high energy plays, the guy put his body on the line. The offensive foul from Donovan Mitchell when he beat him to the spot in the fourth quarter, very clutch, critical moment, and Donovan Mitchell elbowed him. You got the charge, potentially could have been a flagrant. These plays Aaron Nesmith is all involved with. And they won't show up in the box score, but it's heart and soul type plays that the team is going to recognize, the coaching staff is going to recognize, and in the locker room, he's going to generate a lot of respect, and his team is going to rally around him to kind of boost him up to continue to be that guy for this team. And I know every team in the NBA is looking, searching, and wanting one of those guys who can do that. The thing about Aaron Nesmith that makes him different is usually when you get that heart and soul, you get a guy that's willing to do all of those different things, they're kind of limited offensively. But Aaron Nesmith is doing that while is one of the most prolific shooters that we ever seen in college basketball, and is a knockdown shooter in the NBA still. So you got a best in both worlds situation there, because usually you think about those guys and they do everything, and then offensively they can't give you shit. It's like they do all of that, and then on offense, the other team is like, hey, we ain't guarding them. It's kind of like my Knicks. Josh Hart is that for us, but then he's limited on offense. Josh Hart has offensive limitations, and you can put Porzingis on him and let Porzingis just sit and, gap up on everything and give immense help. But you can't do that with Aaron Nesmith. So I love what he gives this team. First half, 13 turnovers, 11 assists. They had more turnovers than assists. That's big for the Pacers. Not always a big thing for certain teams. It's a disgusting stat. You never want to have more turnovers than assists. But this is everything for the Pacers. Everything. Which is why it's no coincidence that the better half that they played in the second half, the ball started to rotate, spin around. You get back to shifting the defense just a tad bit. Not as much as game 1. Open up some things. Pascal had some finishes and some driving lanes. Tyrese Halliburton got more aggressive and put his head down. 17 assists to 4 turnovers in the second half for the Pacers. Played a lot faster, got a lot more different looks that they wanted. To me, that was key. And yeah, man, ultimately down the stretch, they were able to overcome a night where they had, 17 turnovers, a night where they allowed the Cavaliers to shoot 35 free throws, a night where they allowed the Cavaliers to have 14 offensive rebounds. They still found a way to win because, number one, the three-point shot is still not falling for the Cavs. They shot 11 of 39 at 28%, which is going to be something that they're going to need because outside of Donovan Mitchell, they don't have guys right now that are dynamic scorers. So their offense is Donovan Mitchell putting his head down and getting to that basket, and everybody else is generating catch and shoot three-point opportunities and looks off of the amount of pressure he's applying to the defense of the Indiana Pacers and trying to make that defense either collapse so he can kick it out to shooters, get that ball rotating, or he's going to get to the cup for easy twos and one finishes, put guys in foul trouble and different things like that, getting the bonus early so then they can't play as much of a aggressive type defense. But going forward, man, if the trade-off is allowing Donovan Mitchell to score 48, allowing him to shoot 21 free throws, but you're going to be able to limit them from the three-point line this much, I think the Pacers are taking that trade-off. The only thing that the Pacers are going to want to do differently is they're going to want to play their brand of basketball a lot earlier. They're not going to want to wait to the first half to not have 13 turnovers. That's something that they're never going to try to do because then they feel like they're beating themselves. You're beating yourselves if you're the Pacers, if you're just coughing up the ball to the Cavaliers that much. Also, they're going to probably go in there and tell Tyrese Halliburton that, hey, when you are aggressive, this is 2 games in a row. When you are aggressive, good things happen for us. You started the game off like that, and we were rolling. You didn't start off the game like that. We had trouble. You came out in the second half, and you got aggressive. We fucking took the game, and we won. So we're going to need you to be in attack mode for the rest of this fucking series. And then the other thing is they're going to have to rebound. Miles Turner, you got to get in there. You got to get down dirty, brother. You got to. You gotta keep these guys off the glass. Andrew Nembhard cannot turn the ball 8 fucking times. Turn it over 8 fucking times. That's just not gonna be able to be acceptable. And yeah, they're gonna have to gang rebound a little bit more. Tyrese Halliburton helped out, had 9 rebounds. He led the team in rebounding. He's been doing that, I think, all playoffs maybe. But yeah, Miles Turner got to be a little bit more aggressive on that glass. Pascal got to be a little bit more aggressive on that glass. And it's not too many games where Pascal is gonna have 12 points. Right? Can't count on that. So, Pacers up 2, going back home. I don't want to say it like that's an impossible place to win, but they do have a good crowd and environment. And then, yeah, the other part of all of this is the fact that we don't know what's going on with the Cavaliers and their injuries. I don't know if what Evan Mobley is dealing with is something that's going to continue for the rest of the series. I don't know if it was something he was already dealing with. I don't know the issue with that at all. Matter of fact, before we load up this video to YouTube and wrap it up 33 minutes in, let's see. So there's nothing updated. There's nothing new about what game 3 is going to look like. Kenny Atkinson on plays that led to injuries for Evan Mobley, DeAndre Hunter, and Jared Allen. All 3 of those plays were excessive. Okay, so Kenny Atkinson shared his displeasure with no calls that led to injuries of Evan Mobley. Yeah, so the ankle injury is what it is for Evan Mobley. It's the toe injury for Darius Garland. And what is it, a shoulder injury? No, a thumb injury for DeAndre Hunter. Yeah, I'm looking for some type of like update for potential game 3. It's nothing. Everything is about game 2. How long is Evan Mobley out? Yeah, I don't know. He wasn't able to put weight on it, they said. This is something that I guess we'll just have to keep eyeing on a day-by-day basis. But yeah, another great game. Epic finish for Tyrese Halliburton. A lot of things went right, like video game type shit for the Pacers. The putback dunk from Nesmith, the offensive foul they got from Donovan Mitchell. I mean, I saw a lot of Cavs fans also. I'll say this. A lot of Cavs fans were saying things about Kenny Atkinson, but I have no problem holding coaches accountable and saying it and saying different things. and reviewing and rewatching and trying to really find somebody to blame. But I don't give a fuck anything about coaching. At the professional level, collegiate level, youth basketball level, you got to be able to get the fucking ball in bounds. You have to be able to get open and allow yourself to get an inbound. They struggled for most of the second half, getting the inbound ball in when the Pacers applied pressure. Kenny Atkinson he could go draw up some masterminded shit, yada yada. But at the end of the day, you're telling me these guys can't get open to inbound the fucking basketball? We got to put some responsibility on some of these players, too. That's all I'm saying. It's a 50-50 thing when you talk about pointing the finger. Anything else that I forgot to mention in my notes? I don't think so. Cavaliers got 46 shots up. Pacers got 34. What was that? A 12-shot difference. I think that was in the first half. Altogether, the game ended. The Pacers shot 85 shot attempts, and the Cavs shot 90. So they were able to make up ground on that 12-shot difference. So, yeah, man. 2 fast break points for the Cavaliers as well. Even with all the turnovers, the Pacers got back and limited them to 2 fast break points. That's something to mention as well. As always, I appreciate y'all. I'm Pee Wee the Plug. We will be going over all playoff basketball for the rest of the playoffs here on Pee Wee the Plug. Stay locked in. Stay tuned in. If you enjoy this, subscribe. Leave me a like. I'll see y'all next time. I'm out. Peace.